My friends. Whoa, tomatoes instant. Instant tomatoes. I don't think you recommended this one. Hey, Owen, how's it going? Hello, everyone. Hi, it's me, Scott. This puzzle, here's the story on this puzzle. I've been doing a fair number of puzzles by the setter Blobz, and I had done I think I posted this on the Discord, a puzzle called Domino Trails. Let's take a look at that one, which I really enjoyed. And it was like a really good level of difficulty for me. It was my first time of doing this particular kind of I've seen these before, but kind of like it's almost like a cave puzzle, but it wasn't really cave because you could have a checkerboard, where I think in a cave you're not allowed to. But the idea is kind of like a hedge maze, and so part of the oh really? Oh, interesting. I got to check that out. I haven't been paying much attention to the CTC Discord. So the premise of this puzzle I thought was really cool. Is it kind of follows the rules. I guess is it. Forgive me because I don't really know the name, but I think it is like a cave type puzzle, or like the puzzles where you have sort of like islands and water, that kind of puzzle. So part of the map is the garden path essentially, and part of it is hedges. And the premise is you have to find the garden path, but it has some interesting constraints. Like the path, the tiles of the path are always dominoes, and the cage tells you the sum of the particular domino, but it doesn't necessarily tell you where the partner domino is. And so anyway, it's a really good one. I really enjoyed it. Let me drop this. I'll drop this link in here if you want to look at this first puzzle. So I realized today, in looking at more blob puzzles, I probably only have time for one puzzle tonight, so I thought like maybe while my brain is still vaguely attuned to these rules, I was interested in looking at other Blobz puzzles. Blobz also was the setter behind that Grand Prix puzzle that was so cool. But I saw that there was a Domino Trails 2, which has the same very, very high rating, but seems to be more difficult. So I'm a little nervous about it. So here's the link for Domino Trails 2. I haven't fully jumped in to see if it seems like the rules are identical. But I don't know. Even though it's a 3-star puzzle and I'm a little intimidated by it, I feel like I was able to internalize some logic from the first puzzle, and maybe that will help me here. So I don't really know if it's going to help me here, but I feel like it will. So I'm going to jump into Domino Trails 2 by Blobz. And first, let's do all the fun stuff. I really need to codify this more. I know. I mentioned this before, but I'm a little worried because I do have a long-term contract gig starting next week, and I'm just not going to be able to stream as much. So something I really want to try to do is at a minimum have one night a week that is set aside for Sudoku streams. But that's not what I meant to do at all. This is supposed to be white, but it's going to be tricky. Just I know from experience when I have these kind of intensive multi-week, multi-month contract jobs, it really is hard to balance that with streaming, especially with all of my other personal projects that I want to keep momentum on. So it'll be tricky, but I would like to try to do it. So let's check out the rules of Domino Trails 2 by Blobz. Normal Sudoku rules. Shade some cells, the hedges, such that unshaded cells, the trails, form an orthogonally connected area with no loops. And I think that's pretty critical. So there's no loops on this path. Where no 2x2 group of cells is either fully shaded or unshaded. So that seems to be pretty common in these kinds of puzzles. So we have to be on the lookout for that in particular. That's a pretty major constraint that comes in a lot. Different parts of the trail may touch diagonally. So in this puzzle, checkerboard patterns are allowed, which I don't think is normally the case in these kinds of coloring puzzles. Note that hedges do not need to connect to the edge of the grid, which is confusing to me. I think there are other rules that require that. I think maybe cave rules require that. I don't think it's explicitly required here, but without really thinking about it, it seems like you sort of have to, or you will implicitly have loops. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. But it seems like by not having them connect, you implicitly have a loop. But I guess actually that's not true, because two totally separate parts of the trail could isolate a hedge, I guess. Maybe. Okay, this is where it gets kind of like, this is the magic of this particular puzzle. Yeah, it's not yin-yang rules exactly. So the trails are completely tiled with dominoes, which is key here. It's always a domino. It's always two cells every tile of this trail. So it's kind of like these are bricks of the trail, but the bricks are always a domino, which is also in the first puzzle was very important, because you had to really pay attention to like, what are the implications, knowing, especially with the 2x2 constraint where you can't have 2x2, you can't have two, parts of this path adjacent to each other, or parallel to each other, I guess. It is fine to have them perpendicular. In fact, it's a requirement, essentially. So here's the thing about these. Caged cells are always trail cells and indicate two things. And this took me a little, hey Draclin, how's it going? Took me a little time to wrap my head around this. Maybe it'll be more obvious to everyone else. The digit in the cage is how many trail cells, including itself, can be seen orthogonally from that position. So if you're looking down the path, it's how many cells. It's how many cells you can see, not the dominoes. Which I think I've seen that in other rule sets. I think the kind of cave rule sets have a similar constraint. The clue in the corner of the cage is the sum of the corresponding dominoes. So remember, in this case, the path, the trail is always dominoes. So everywhere we see a cage, everywhere we see a number is a domino. And we just know the number in the corner will be the sum. And it gets really interesting in that, because you have this pressure of like, what does the cage total allow up against like what is allowed inside the cells as far as like the vision. So in the first puzzle, I found it was very frequently like the tension between these two rules right here, the cage total and the number in the cage, which is like the vision total. Skoja, how's it going? Okay, thank you, Draclin. I appreciate that. Yeah, but I think I may be mistaken. Like cave rules aren't always dominoes, are they? I could be totally wrong. I'm mixing up those constraints. I don't remember ever seeing this exact formulation, but that's just in my limited view. So forgive me if this is like a very standard rule set that I'm missing, but I don't remember seeing this exact rule set. And not all dominoes are marked with a cage. So 3 hours, oh my gosh, Gojo. Okay, what I was mentioning to Owen is I did the first of these, Domino Trails 1, I think this week at some point. I really enjoyed it. I found it challenging as a 2-star puzzle. This is 3 stars, but I'm hoping that I've like built some logic. Like for example, you can instantly see that this is a domino. And knowing that that's a domino, we know this is a domino because you can't have a 2x2. So I feel like at least my brain is slightly attuned. And I don't know if you experience this. I definitely find that if I do like say a bunch of puzzles by the same constructor, like I did all those willpower puzzles, it feels like my brain becomes attuned to solving that kind of puzzle, but only that kind of puzzle. And I'm hoping that happens with this, is that my brain is attuned to this particular rule set, so it will be a smoother solve than usual. But it does seem that this is a more difficult version of that puzzle. You can see something really interesting here. This has to be kind of a little cul-de-sac. For example, a 3 is really tricky because remember, these are dominoes. This can't be a 1. So first of all, we know this is a 2. So we get our first digit immediately, right? Because somewhere there's a domino here that is sums to 3, so it's 1 and 2. You can never have a 1 here because you would totally isolate that piece of trail. And we know whatever the domino that pairs with this, we know is definitely a 1, and we know it's kind of like a little, everything else is surrounded. So we get our first digit almost immediately, which is very, that's correct, Owen. So this domino could be like this. In fact, at a glance, I probably, if I thought about it more, I'd really realize the situation, but at a glance, this domino, I don't immediately see a reason that this domino couldn't be in any of these. So I want a good trail color, because I think that was a mistake I made last time, is using black for the trail color, and by the end of the puzzle, it was almost impossible to see where the box boundaries became really difficult. So I kind of want to make this a yellow brick road. So the reason I said that this is not, I should be careful with this. This is not the same tile. This is not a tile, a single trail domino, because there's different totals, right? And so we know they would have to be the same. I don't know that I ever saw, I guess it is technically possible that this could be the same tile. I don't think I saw that in the previous puzzle. But I think what I would like to do is, I think the first thing I would like to do is, let's just go ahead and color our trail. Just to start, because colors are very helpful in this puzzle. I mean, it's a requirement. It's the rules. Yeah, I kind of want a yellow brick road. A yellow brick road. So, okay, so we can see, so I feel pretty confident in this too. And this is logic that it's inherited from the previous puzzle. We do need a good domino color though, because I don't think yellow is going to read very well. It's not terrible, actually. Maybe we could make it something really obnoxious. Anyway, I am going to tell you that I believe this is a domino, because if it was here, these numbers would be the same. Because we can't have a 2x2, I know for certain that this domino goes this way. And so we get, is there a shortcut for the pen tool? I don't actually know. I think we immediately get some more trail. And because we have to avoid a 2x2, we immediately get some hedge. So that's very exciting. I'm just like scanning the grid looking for other very low-hanging fruit, which I fear we may have exhausted already. 5 is pretty constrained in that it can only be 4, 1 and 2, 4, and it can't be 1 here. So that means this digit is 2, 3, or 4. I don't know that I necessarily feel like that's worth. This is certainly 3 and 1. So this is another free digit, right? This is a 3. This domino will be 3 and 1. It can never be 1 because that would isolate this piece of trail. So we get another digit here. Anything else that is a kind gift? I mean, I guess I sort of want to pencil mark this. It's either 3-2 as part of a 3-2 pair, or it's 4-1, but it could never be 1. And I mean, it already sees 2. So it would be sort of difficult for that to be 2. I mean, it would have to be kind of like this, and this domino would go up, but maybe it's not impossible. When did I solve that one? I think early in the week. Branching is a requirement, actually. So because there's no loops allowed, you only are able to get through the grid with branching. And that's a kind of weird thing. I don't know if I'm probably not articulating that well. Hopefully there'll be a place where we have to kind of make a choice here. It's definitely not a snake. You kind of have to have lots of little, it kind of ends up looking like a hedge maze with lots of dead ends. There's one critical path that goes through, but there'll be lots of little dead ends, and there's not a loop. So that critical path does not connect back to the beginning. So here's the main issue. I'm suffering already. Just realizing that we won't have the benefit of the little cage summing tool in this puzzle because it doesn't know these are cages. So we will just have to think about it ourselves. So this is a minimum of 3. because you do count the cell you're in. This, of course, is a minimum of 2. This is pretty interesting because this is a high digit. So I guess I'm inclined to start here, because this is a minimum of 6. Because we have to make 15 in 2 digits, and the lowest digit we could use to achieve that is 6. So in fact, this one is extremely constrained. 15 is very tight. That looks like the biggest digit. Oh, we have another 15 here, actually. Just thinking of our options for this, unfortunately, it's kind of it's on a corner though, so it kind of rains on our parade a little bit, especially because this is also big. But because this is small, we're not going to be able to connect straight across here, right? You can already see that. Like there's definitely a green either here or here for sure. I just don't know where yet. So for the 15, what were we saying? This is either 6-9 or it is 8-7, and I think those are the only options here. This is where I'm really going to screw up probably. The thing that's sort of tricky is, we know there's a green over here, so it feels like there actually is room to see 9. We might otherwise say that it would be difficult to do that. 1, 2, like certainly this is not going to see all the way to here because it's so low. But even if we tried to put the green here, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, you couldn't do that actually, because that would force this to be 10, right? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is actually, does that let us say that isn't 9? Sorry, let me think through that a little more. Is there a way, knowing, if we don't connect these, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 8, this is 8 cells. If we try to make 9, we try to grow 9 in either direction, we instantly blow our total. If we put 9 here, we're seeing 10, right? So I think actually we can rule 9 out of here. And I think if we rule 9 out of there, we can rule 6 out of here. It unfortunately seems possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doesn't seem to be a major problem. This is 11, which of course you can make with 2 and 9. We already know it's not 2. I mean, there's a 2 looking at it. We also know that it already sees 3 cells. I guess if you minimized this, that would be something to think about. So this is a minimum of 3. If that were true, you would have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you could still do 7. So that still allows 6 or 7 here. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with this 5. So in terms of what could be in the 11, I think it's going to have a maximum as well, because again, we know there's definitely a green. So this has a minimum of 3 because it sees 3 and it's not 2. I don't think, even if we made this green, which again, I believe we have to, because this sees a maximum of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't connect here, right? You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But if we made this green, this is a maximum of 4. Is that true? You can't connect. This digit certainly sees this digit, no question. If you made this 1, 2, 3, 4, if you tried to make it 5, make this digit 5, this digit sees everything. So actually, this is a minimum of 3 because it's not 2. And it could be 1 because it's an 11 cage, and it can't be 1 in this puzzle anyway. So I think this is a 3 or a 4. And that makes the other half of this, sorry, just double checking myself. I think that makes the other half of this 7 or 8. Because we're trying to sum to 11. We feel very confident that this is the other half of this. So to hit 11, we have to be 8, or we have to be 7 with 4, 8 with 3. I think that checks out. The problem is I think it's okay to be 3. In other words, this could be 3 or it could be 4 and include this, and the green cell could be here. Well, so you know what the question then is in that case, actually, is kind of, or a question we could ask ourselves is, where's the 14 going to go? See, okay, another thing that's a little tricky about this puzzle is you can't do that logic of saying like, oh, well, this has to get out, right? It has to connect. I mean, this is a constraint always on these kinds of puzzles. I just want to call it out because I found myself doing it. You can't say like, oh yeah, this has to get out. Well, it doesn't, because it could actually be a dead end here, and checkerboards are allowed in this puzzle. And so those constraints are not going to be helpful to us, at least in this case. We will almost certainly see cases where a digit does have to get out. This, like the 7-8 situation here, is pretty interesting. So a 14, we don't know which way the 14 goes. I can't immediately see why it could or couldn't go one way or the other. We may, you know, if the 14 goes this way, then it's a minimum of 4, but we already knew we know it's a minimum of 5 already, right? Because it's a domino summing to 14. So this digit is a minimum of 5, but right now it kind of at a glance seems like it could be a minimum of 5 or a maximum of 9. I'm not immediately seeing, other than that, the minimum imposed by its 14ness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I guess one thing we can say, if it is 5, it doesn't just go like this, because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would force a 2 by 2, which is not allowed. It seems like, and in fact feels kind of likely, that it could be 4 going this direction. But I think, okay, that's interesting. We can never, the lowest, okay, sorry, really, I'm trying to think about how to say this properly. The lowest digit we could put in here is a 5, right? If you put a 4 in here, what are we going to pair it with? If you put a 5 in here and you try to, oh, I'm sorry, what I was about to say is not true. It's not true. We already see 2. So actually, it could actually be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think that's actually still okay. I'm sorry, I wasn't counting that. I think that's okay. That does mean the domino that it pairs with a domino that sticks into this cell. That would, in that case, you're forcing a green here, which seems not terribly unreasonable. It means you're putting 2 greens here in this particular instance. I don't immediately see a problem with that. So maybe it's actually fruitful to think about this, because this is a very high digit. And it's blind on this side. Okay. This digit sees a minimum of 7, I think we've said. Does that seem true? Seems true to me, that this digit cannot be lower than 7. And we said that because this digit, we said this couldn't be 9 because it wouldn't fit in there. We said it's a minimum of 6 because of the 15 domino constraint. So it's 6, 7, 8, but not 9 because it doesn't fit. To make our 15 total, it's either a 7, 8 pair, or This is scary, actually. Well, do we... I think we already know what this is. I mean, this isn't a 7-8 pair, because then what would you put here? This is 6-9. That's broken. I think I've already broken the puzzle. That's impressive. How did I break the puzzle so quickly? I'm very impressed with how quickly I broke this puzzle. Okay, I need to rethink this a little bit, because how could this digit ever be higher than this digit? I don't. Oh, and Chris, that makes two of us, because I don't know what I'm doing either. I think I'm learning something, but I'm learning something useful. But I think I made a mistake in the process of it. What did we say? I want to say two things right now. This certainly is not a 7-8 pair to make 15, at least given what I've pencil marked, which I think I've clearly made a mistake in my pencil marks. This is not a 7-8 pair to make 15, because with what we currently have, that would leave no value for this cell. Which, with what we currently have pencil marked, that means this is a 9 and this is a 6. Okay, no, you know what? That's actually still okay. It is still okay. Interesting. I think it's forced, and I think it's okay. I had in my mind that this was a vision cell, but it's not. I have to remember that only digits in cages, inside the cage, not inside the domino, but inside the cage, are the vision digits. So I don't think I've made that mistake twice. I think I just wasn't thinking on this clearly. Okay, if that is true, what I think I'm saying, so I felt pretty good about this 11, right? We said this 11 was a minimum of 3. We said we already see 3. It can be 4, but as soon as it's 5, it's too big. So it's 3 or 4. And then to make 11 with this domino, which we forced because edge, we got a 7 and an 8 here. By having a 7-8 here, this is definitely not a 7-8 pair. So we remove 7 and 8 from here, and I think we get 9 here, which is okay. What scared me about breaking the puzzle was I was like, oh no, how could that digit be bigger? But it's not a vision digit. It's fine. It's not helpful to us, but it's not a vision digit, which puts a 6 here, which is pretty interesting from the standpoint that it's easy to see 6. I mean, we know we could at most see one more this way to get us to 5. So it's... What does that actually tell us? That's a little tricky. I mean, you know, it's unfortunate almost. I wish this digit was a little bigger. This does... Oh, well, in terms of our 14 optionality, it's suddenly pretty hard to make 14, isn't it? Right? 14 is... Okay, sorry. Are there only 2 ways to make 14? 5, 9, and 6, 8, because you can't have the double 7. I believe that is true. 14 can only be 5, 9, and 6, 8. Now I'm scared. It's certainly a minimum of 5. I think I'm prepared to say that. Both of those are ruled out by this, for this domino. So I'm going to tell you that I don't believe 14 goes this way. Because if 14 went this way, how would we make 14? Because we can't have 5, 9, we can't have 6, 8. So I hope the things I'm saying are true. I think 14 has to go this way. And we know what it is, and we know where it is, which feels like weirdly generous. Something about this puzzle is suspicious, like it's going a little too smoothly. I feel like I'm gonna have a rude awakening. Okay, so what I'm gonna say to you is I don't think this 14 domino goes this way, because we can't have 5-9 and we can't have 6-8. Obviously, we can't have double 7. The 14 goes this way. It's definitely not a 5-9 because 5-9 sees both. It's definitely a 6-8. Definitely a 6-8. But we know the orientation because of this 6. So this, I believe, is forced to be an 8. This is forced to be a 6. This is forced to be a 7, and this is forced to be a 4. And suddenly we have a whole range of digits. That also tells us that this 5 is part of a 2-3 pair to make the 5. We don't, it still feels like it could go either way at this particular moment, but okay, so I think now we can use the logic we were thinking about earlier. This definitely cannot extend this far, right? If this 14 sees all the way here, we have made a double. We've made a 2x2, which is not allowed. So at most, this 14 cage can see 4 digits counting itself in this direction, right? 5 is going to make a 2x2. That's no good. 4 there, 5 here. We need at least 3 more digits going up this way, right? This has to see 8 digits. Right now, it sees 1, 2, 3. It can see 4, 5, at most in this direction. 6, 7, 8. It's just a requirement. We don't know about these. I mean, it may go up this way even further, but I think it is a requirement to say that these are definitely trail digits. And this is a funny thing, and I want to think about it a little bit before I say it, but everything on a trail is part of a domino, even if it's not explicitly stated. So we do need to mark our trail here, which is pretty interesting. Okay, well then we can do, oh no. I broke the puzzle again. Well, at least I'm spotting it before I go too far. But wow, that is actually, that's a pretty substantial problem if that's true. I almost feel like I need to just back up and kind of re-go through this logic again, because I'm worried I missed a pencil mark or something. The reason I said I just broke the puzzle is this 8-6 at a glance seems like it's okay, but that forced a 7 here, right? And by forcing a 7 here, our 11 domino has to be 4. Our 11 domino only sees 3 digits right now. And to make it see a 4th digit, we would have to take that digit. Oh, that's very sad. Shoot. Oh, well, I don't know what to do now, actually. I kind of feel like I need to, because that was based on a lot of deductions. I mean, honestly, I'm tempted to just go back to this and just, I need to, I think we can breeze through that. I just want to like double check with the logic, because I clearly missed, maybe I missed an option. Okay. I feel this is certainly a 2. I don't think there's any way that this could not be a 2, because it's a sums to 3. If it was a 1, it would be trapped, because trails have to be orthogonally connected. So I believe this is true. The next big thing was us saying that this domino goes here, which I think has to be true. I mean, this domino is not the same as this domino because they have different digits. I mean, they have different sums. And that does not seem to be a thing that is allowed in the world. So then we did this, which made us say that this was trail, this was shrubbery. That made us say, also, by the same logic, that this domino goes this way. Now I'm worried now that I'm in like a mistake-making mood. Well, at least I'm catching it early. We then thought very hard about this. We were quite certain that the minimum value you could put in here is 6. The digits you can use to sum to 15 are 6 with 9. Let's do both of these. 6 with 9 or 7 with 8. That still feels comfortable. We have to make 16 in 2 cells. It's 6 plus 9 or it's 7 plus 8. Don't think there's another way we're going to make 15. With the 11, we said that it already sees 3 digits. It was the 5 that we used to put pressure from the other side. So this is a maximum of 4 and a minimum of 2. So again, with the 5 was 2, 3, 4. That seems forced. You're not going to put a bigger digit in here. You're not going to put a lower digit in here. 2, 3, 4, right? That means we see a maximum of 4. So there's no way to connect this over here. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minimum. So we think there's definitely a green here or here, which I still feel like says this is a maximum of 3 or 4. It's very difficult for me to see what else you could put in here. It can't be a 2. So this is not 9 plus 2 equals 11. It's not 9 plus 2 equals 11. It could be 3 plus 8 equals 11. I just missed an option in there. I missed 5. No, we said it couldn't be 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connects here. It's not 5. It is a maximum of 3, 4. That feels forced, which I believe. So far, all of our logic is still with us. Now, given this, because this is 7 or 8, this is not a 7-8 pair to sum to 15. That's not, if we did 7-8 here to equal 15, this cell has no value. So I think it's still correct to move that. We get a 6-9 pair here. I'm not removing the 9 yet, just because I'm trying to take the logic one piece at a time. Even so, even given that, even given the ambiguity of the 6-9, right? Our options for 14 how do you make 14 in a domino? It's 9 plus 5, or it's 6 plus 8. It's in this puzzle where it's dominoes, you can't do double 7. I mean, in another, I just don't see how you can. And one of those options, well, in fact, with a 6-9 pair in here, I think we are still saying we cannot do this. We cannot do this. There must be a way of making 9 work. There is. That was my mistake. I see my mistake now. I think it was not correct to eliminate 9 from this. That I believe was my mistake, eliminating 9 from this, because I was thinking about the danger of connecting the two of these, but I think it's actually okay because both of these could be green, or green could be here. That was my mistake, because you could have, and in fact, I think you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that's going to be forced. Okay. Well, that was definitely a mistake of removing an option, because now what I'm going to say to you is that because our options are 5, 9 or 6, 8 for this 14 domino, even if we don't know the order of this, it still can't go here, because how are we going to make a 5, 9 pair? Or make a 5, 9 domino? How are we going to make a 6, 8 domino if 6 and 9 are here? So this is, I believe this is still forced. So this was correct. In fact, I think all the logic was correct, except I prematurely removed 9 from there, which is, not to excuse that, but it does seem like the rest of the logic was correct. And had I gone this route, you can see that that is forced to be green. It has to be green. And then we did have some additional logic that I think forces this 14 up, but I don't think we have to do that, because this is a 3 now, because it only sees 3. So, I mean, we'll do it eventually, I guess. So that is a 3, and that is an 8, which now removing the 3 from here, which is fine. We know that if it's a 2, 3, it doesn't go this way. Could, I think, still be a 4, 1 and go this way. The 5, I mean. Now, this digit, what is it? I'm trying to think of the best way to articulate this and not like run into the same mistake that I had previously. But I think it is that it's a minimum. I mean, we're only at 4. It's a minimum of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is forced for sure. Now, how did we get into trouble in trying to make our... honestly can't remember how. I think it was because of the 8. We ended up with an 8 here, which forced the 7. That was our problem. Because we thought this was a 6, 8 domino because we had a 9 here. And I think that is not okay. Because if you have a 9 here, you force the 6, 8 domino here. And we have 6 and 8 here. So that is what got us into trouble. Like a 9 here forces 6, 8. That's how we ended up not having 8 here, and that's how we ended up in the mess we were in previously. So I think this has to be 9 because of that. This has to be 6 because of that. 6 and 8 are not available. This is a 5, 9 to sum to 14, so that is 5, and this is 9. That is not as fun. I mean, in terms of the knowledge of what this little trail is going to do, but that's okay because we know a lot more about this trail now. In fact, we're going to learn quite a bit, I think, about even this domino. So we have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we just need to see 9. So we get 7, 8, 9, I think minimum. Or just not even minimum, just explicitly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then that puts hedge up here. Now, we know that this digit only sees 2 digits, including itself, and there's trail here. So that is, I believe, forced, which makes this whole box, we have the layout in. And then I get a little nervous about this, but I believe we certainly know this domino is true. Now remember, the trail is comprised of dominoes, even if we don't know anything about those dominoes, right? So these 2 cells on this trail, this cell needs a partner. So I believe that it's forced that this is also a domino, which is not that interesting because we don't know that much about either of these 2 cells. However, this cell must be part of a domino as well. So I think we are able to do that, which is exciting. This is sort of crazy. There's got to be something funny about this one. Like, how are you going to have this C11 given that it already sees 7 in this direction and have this C? Well, this is just forced, actually, right? This 11. Well, it's not quite forced. I'm sorry. It's not going to see 11. I'm just thinking about what the digits going here, but obviously these are different digits. They have to be. They're going to be 2 different ways of summing to 11. I mean, I guess it's technically possible because of the way the box works. No, they can't be in this case. I guess unless this 11 went here. No, I don't think you could, actually. I think it is not. I think you can't. I think those have to be 2 different ways of summing to 11 in this instance because they're in the same box. So that's fine. This domino already sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is a minimum of 7. This, now what I can't tell you is if this is an instance where we can say like, oh, the trail needs to get out. I don't know that. But what I do know is that, well, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We already see. So this is a minimum of 7. Why did that work? Minimum of 7. I believe it could be 8 still. It can't be 9 because we already used the 9 in this column. So once again, we end up with a 3, 4 here paired with this 11. Kind of like eats all of our low digits for whatever that's worth. It doesn't matter that much. Low digits are kind of interesting just because they can't see very far. You know, like a 2 is real useful. 1 can never be in a cage. And I think I'm going to tell you that this can't be 8. Because if it were it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's instantly a 9. So I think we actually can just say this is 7. And we can just say this is 4. And we can just say that this is a little dead end. So we get a little cul-de-sac up here. This is a little tricky. We can't create a loop. So I mentioned that constraint earlier. And if we connected our yellow brick road right here, I think we would have a loop. And if we put a yellow tile here at all, remember the trail is always comprised of dominoes and only of dominoes. So if we try to put a tile here, it has to take this cell, and we have created a loop. And I believe, and I think loops are forbidden. I was a little, when I first read the rules, I didn't quite understand what that meant, but I think this is exactly what it's talking about. This exact kind of scenario. And so those two things put together, one, that the trail is comprised of dominoes only. So if we use this, we have to use this. And if we have done that, we've created a loop. I think it is fair to say that at least this one is hedge. Now, we have a similar problem if we try to put, if we try to use this. If we try to use this, it can't go this way. So because we'd end up with a 2x2, in fact, we'd end up with an insane thing. We know this 11 needs a partner. So because we know this needs a partner, we know it can't go that way. I mean, this needs a partner either way. We know this is another 11 domino. We have so many 11 dominoes. So we get an 11 domino and we get another bit of yellow brick road. And this 11 domino is a minimum of 5. Interesting. This 11 domino is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's not 5. So it's not 5. It could be 6 or 7. It's not 8 either, but it could be 9. And in fact, are we going to have additional problems with that? Because of Oh, Skoja, did you like it? How did you feel about that first domino trails? I thought it was a really fun puzzle. You did that so quickly that my feelings are hurt. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. I don't know if you've done many other Blobz puzzles, but all the ones I've liked, I've really, really enjoyed. I can't believe how fast you did that. Maybe I would solve a little faster if I wasn't narrating every move, but who knows? Maybe that helps me. Okay, so there's pressure on this, but then this domino dips into this box where we already have all this stuff going on. And to make for this 6, which we said basically this is a minimum of 6, but it can't be 6 because then to make 11 in 2 digits with a 6, you have to have a 5, which we don't have. So it's not allowed. It's not available to us. To make 7 can be a 4, which at this moment seems to be available to us. And sorry, to make 11 with 7, you need 4. To make 11 with 9, you need 2, which at this moment is available to us. That's interesting because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we only see 5, and then we're at a corner. So we at a minimum have to see 2 more digits, right? But we're 7 at a minimum here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are forced onto the yellow brick road. We can see here that we can't have a 2x2. Like there's 2 2x2s at risk here. So that is hedge. Now, what does that mean for this 7? My instinct is to want to kind of nudge it over this way, but I don't know that we know that yet. However, this 5, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already. In fact, that was, I think, already available to us. So this 5 is complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has seen all the digits it can see. So we do have to make, kind of close off our hedge maze in that direction. This 11, it still actually does feel possible for it to swing both ways. I think when we thought about the options of this 11, we might learn something, but okay, so what have we learned anything exciting about that? I mean, the sort of leftover digits are not that interesting. It sticks 1 in here, but I don't know if that's a cool thing to know about. Actually, it kind of is, because where does 7 and 1? So is this a 1-7 pair? And if that's a 1-7 pair, then this must be a 2-4 pair, and there's a 4 there. So that's a 2, that's a 4. If that is a 4, this is the 7. And if that's the 7, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That scared me for a second because I thought it was going to count as 8. That's the end of the road. It's 1-7 pair. Curious what this is, but I think we just don't know at this moment. And it's not that useful to think about these just because they're not cagey. 5 is still a little bit interesting. Actually, look at this 5. This 5 up here. It's not a 2-3 version of 5. So how are we going to make this 5? We can only make a 5 without a 2 or a 3. It can only be a 1-4 pair, but 1 can't go in here because it would be isolated. So that is a 4. Don't immediately see why you couldn't sneak in here with the, well, it's a 4. It's a 1-4, and we already have the 1 in this column, and we already have the 1 in this column, right? 1 is down here. 1 is here. This is a 5. So I think it's fair to say, oh, that was unexpected. That honestly snuck up on me. I was not expecting to fully get that domino. How upset am I going to be when I realize I've made a mistake? The answer is quite. This can't be on the trail because it doesn't have a domino buddy. So that is hedge. So we have our 7 and our 1. We have our 7 and a 1. 2 is over here somewhere. Just trying to think if this 2 could be on the 11. But I think there's a world in which it could be. So 11 in a domino, sorry, 7 in a domino. And it is a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not very exciting though, because it could be, it's a minimum of 4 to make this 7. And 4 seems to be valid, as does 5, as does 6. Kind of depending on what goes on in this direction. So that's not very fun. This 11 we have to make without using a 9 or using an 8. Is that cool? And it's a minimum of 2. I guess that's actually not very interesting. I mean, it's... How do I end up with such a funny... This is either a 2 or it's a 4. If it's a 2, we're done, and this 11 has to go this way. Is there something smart we can say about that? 9's up here somewhere. We said this was a 3 earlier, and then I got scared, but I think it's still fair to say this is a 3, because how else are you going to make a 4? Okay, I want to think about this just for a second. If this is a 2, 3... Oh, well... This is definitely not a 2. Because this isn't part of its domino, and this 5 goes here, or it goes here. One or the other, right? This is not the same domino, so this 5 has to go here, which means it sees a minimum of 3. So I think that's a 4. And that's going to go with a 1, but unfortunately I don't think we know where that 1 is. That does stick a 4 over here, for whatever that's worth. Doesn't seem to be much. So that's kind of interesting here. In terms of like, what is the composition of this 11? This kind of sad story is the 11 could sort of sneak up here still. This 5 definitely swings either this way or this way. I mean, I think there's some version of this where there's a weird little cul-de-sac. Well, that gets very difficult for this. In fact, that we just know that that's not true because there would only be 3 visible. So what can this be? It's very hard for it to be a 2. If it was a 2, the 9 would have to be, it's just not a 2 because it has to pair with a 9 and that can't go here either way. And if you try to put a 9 here, you're seeing more digits anyway. So, oh, well, okay. There's lower hanging fruit available. This is hedge because it has to be. I need to do a better job of keeping an eye out for that. You know, that raises kind of an interesting question here about the nature of this cell. If this cell is ever yellow, it has to domino to get out and you end up with a 2 by 2. If this cell is ever yellow, it can't escape. Cells are, like, I want to verify that. Trails are always dominoes, non-overlapping. Yeah. So this cell is not on the yellow brick road because it requires a domino that goes this way. And we were able to determine that because of the 1 here, right? So I think that is fair to say that that is hedgy. And because we know this sees 4 digits, and right now it only sees 2, we have to, and it's in a little cul-de-sac, we have to take this one. That is the 4 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, allotted to us. So that's a hedge. Don't make a 2 by 2. So that's a hedge. Don't make a loop, but I think it is still possible for this to sneak up in here like this, for the loop to go this way, in other words, because checkerboards are allowed in this puzzle, which is a little tricky. This though, yeah, I mean, this really, this comes down to like, is this going to be allowed to go this way or is it going to be allowed to go this way? And I don't know the answer. I know that this 11 looks pretty constrained. Problem is we just don't know how many digits it sees. It could be a dead end. It's the only 2. I don't know. I don't feel very good about that 11. These 11s, it is in a little cul-de-sac. There is a 2 up here. It would not be impossible for this 11 to be a 2. Yes, it would. It actually would. That's funny. Okay, let's talk through that. So I believe it is fair to say there's a 2 up here, right? In column 3. There's a 2 up here. If we make this a 2, it has to pair with a 9. That 9 can't be over here because there's already a 9 here, right? Not allowed. So that would mean the 9 would have to be here. And if you put the 9 here, this 11 that we already put a 2 inside sees 3 digits. So this is a 2, and this is not. This has so many weird, interesting little surprises in it. And can it go the other way though? That's funny. I think it actually can, because you could have, if the 11 went this way, and we set it, that would mean it's on 9 digits. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is possible. It's not possible because this is so, what a cool puzzle. Okay. If the 11 went this way, we would be putting a 9 in this domino, right? Which means we have to see 9 digits from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At first blush seems possible, but there's a 4. This only sees 3 digits. And by doing this, there's a run of 7 digits here. So I think we're saying that that 11 can't go this way. And the 11 has to go this way. We're also definitely saying that this is a domino, right? Like, oops, that this is a domino. So we should think about that domino as well. This domino, this is concerning. But I don't think it's quite broken. But like this little area is crazy. Like, certainly both of these are not green, on the road, but one of them is, which I think means the trail actually goes this way. Okay, so let's catch up on some trailification. So that is pretty immense pressure on this fellow, who sees 2 digits, but it's not 2. Okay, interesting. Oh, interesting. What is this going to see? How do we even do? Now I feel like I've broken the puzzle again. I really think I have. I think I've broken the puzzle. How is this? Man, what a bummer. I think I broke the puzzle again. When did I break it? Oh no. How do we make this? Maybe there was still a world. Am I wrong about this? So my issue at this moment is I have cornered this 11. As soon as it goes here, this digit will see 4 digits and be broken. But what am I gonna do then? Like, how do I get out of there? What made me say this was hedge? Was that an erroneous hedge? Boy, we did that a long time ago. That doesn't have to be hedge. That's funny. Okay, well, so I think fortunately we're not totally broken. Checkerboards are allowed in this puzzle. Checkerboards are allowed in this puzzle. Checkerboards are welcome in this puzzle. So we need to back up to this decision we just made. Because I think we're okay up to this point, I think. I don't think we've actually used this yet, but this, I think, can be on the road. And in fact, I think it's going to have to be on the road. A lot of our logic is still going to apply, I think, and it's going to come down to the fact that 11 can go this way, because if it doesn't go this way, we have substantial problems. So it is still true to say that 2 is up here, I believe. The only difference in our logic is that we think this can be on the road because checkerboards are allowed in this puzzle explicitly. Checkerboard patterns are allowed. Okay. I think it is still fair to say a few other little things that we had talked about, like this, for example, that this seems to have to be a domino. Now, the ability of this to be a 9 is still in extreme question. But now I guess the option we have now is for it to go 2, 9, which is not an option we had previously. Yeah, that is not an option we had previously that we have now. For some reason, I'm scared to put that in now, but so I want to take stock and just make sure that, like, were there any other deductions that we had or that were useful? So that does tell this, you know, we had some question of whether this was a domino, which we haven't seen this anywhere else. But now it's not. Like this way of making 13 is definitely different from this way of making 13. This 3 still feels very powerful because it prevents this from being too big, right? Like So I guess another way to put it is thinking about the maximum value of this, knowing that if we go like this, we have broken this 3, because this is now 1, 2, 3, 4. So the maximum value of this digit is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the maximum we could have here. But it's not 5. And it's not 4. It can never be 1, but it's definitely not 1. So it's either a 3 or a 2, and it's not a 3. So this is explicitly a 2, I think, which is the opposite of what we had before, but I think that was because I didn't know where to put the 9, if that was the case. Now we have an escape route for the 9 to come down here. So I think that I feel good about this. So that's where we're off track, is the ability of that to be a 9. Okay. So that forces some greenification, because this only sees 2 and it already does. So that's trapped. This is a case where we can say the 9 does have to get out. Like, this does have to connect to the world. It's a dead end. It's got to get out of here. So it is fair to say that this is green. Now, is it a requirement that that is the other half of the 7? I don't know. Maybe. This 4 is going to pair with a 1. We do need to remember that. At the moment, that seems okay. We end up with a 9 in here for whatever that's worth. I don't know that that's very interesting. I think that's kind of all we know. We have the 2s, we have the 1s. Yeah. I mean, this column is pretty dialed in, right? We just need 3 and 6. That's the 3 and 6. I'm just trying to eyeball this and see if there's anything else handy while I'm thinking about it. So that is 3, 5, 8. Not that exciting, but there it is. Anyway, okay, so back to, we see our 4 here, we see our 2 here, we see our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. So I think we're okay on these other things. This digit, interesting. It just, I don't like these where it's a T, or like, you know, where you have lots of degrees of freedom. It's just not that, I don't feel that useful. This 7, or sorry, this digit here, we only see, we see 4, right? It was a question of where we go with this digit. And whether it doesn't look like it wants to do that, does it? This domino, kind of stuck on what I think is the next fruitful thing to look at, honestly. We did find 15 pretty hard to make, right? It's going to be comprised of high digits. So it's either 7, 8 or 6, 9, right? Minimum of 6 is another way of putting that. It's not a 9 because it sees a 9 in the box. So this digit, at most this way could see 4, but doesn't seem that exciting. It's a high digit, but it doesn't seem sufficiently high to be that exciting. We have similar constraints here because you don't have the double 14. So this is 5, 6, 8, 9. Also kind of high. In this way, we can only see 4, but you've got you've got freedom to look up and down a lot in this column. This one, ouch. Well, this is either one, okay. This 6 is either, 6 in 2 digits is not double 3, so it's either 1 5 or it's 2 4, right? 1 is ruled out anyway because it's in a tiny box. 2 is ruled out by the row. So this is a 4 or 5. So it doesn't see all the way down here. Guess it could if it didn't see this one. I'm sure there's something better going on and I'm just kind of missing it. I probably need to pick up the scent, like pick up the trail of where we were, which is maybe this 13. So this 13 is a minimum of 4 and it's not 4. Well, that's not true. It's a minimum of 5. Seems hard for it to be a 9. Well, I guess not impossible for it to be a 9. Yeah, unfortunately, this 13. Well, okay, there's a little bit more of there's a few more constraints here. So superficially, this 13 is a minimum of 5. Which could be the 5 with the 8, or you could have 5 with 8 to make 13, or you could have 6 with 7 to make 13, or you could have 9 with 4 to make 13. However, and that, remember, this is the other half of that domino, so it's going to have the same formula, the same like. So obviously it's not 4 because 4 is in there. If you can't have 4, you can't have 9, right? Because that's how we would have made 13 with the 9. So this is 5 8 or 6 7, you know, across these. So that means this is also 5 8 or 6 7. Can we do better than that? I was hoping for better than that. This pair is either 5 8 or it's a 6 7. At this moment, it seems possible for either of those to be true. Am I missing something super silly and obvious? Like, okay, well, actually, yes, I am. No, maybe it's not quite as obvious. I'm just thinking like, where can this go? But is it forced to be to the 7 or is it forced otherwise? But I actually, right this second, it does actually seem like it could be. I mean, we have to hook the upper world to the lower world somewhere in exactly one place because we can't have loops. So the upper world has to join forces with the lower world in only one place. How does a maximum of 9? This is a maximum of 3. I do need to keep that in mind. But the weird thing is you could do this and have a green here and still do here. So you couldn't say, for example, like, well, it can only reach here, so this is green. That's not true. And even it could just be this. So how's it going, Owen? Are you enjoying it? Oh my gosh, Gojo, you're already done? Oh my gosh, Gojo. Oh my gosh. How are you so good? How did you get so good at Sudoku? I mean, you know how I solve things, which is to find like the most tedious deductions possible rather than following following the smooth path. It's like rather than going on the trail, I'm like climbing through windows and over fences and drain pipes. Anyway, what do I want to think about? I mean, I kind of want to think about this 11. It's just there's a possibility it could be it's these two. So, well, it's not a 2 because 9 is not allowed. And it's not, I guess it's possible that it could be a 3 if the 4 went that way. I mean, I feel like I do a fair amount of Sudoku. I mean, I realistically have to remember that I've only been actually doing variant Sudoku for a few weeks. I've watched so much of it, it is outrageous, but I've actually only been doing it for a few weeks. So I have to like keep that in mind for myself before I cry. I actually really feel like I'm missing some very low-hanging thing, like a very obvious, like don't make a 2x2 or don't, or like a very obvious deduction about where a certain domino goes. But I unfortunately, I'm just not quite seeing it. Like at this moment, well, I guess we could think about what these digits pair with. Is that useful? Were this to go this way, I just don't know that it's that constrained. I mean, this way is kind of interesting. A little. It breaks the 5 and it breaks the 6. Oh. Well, you could still have the domino go this way, but still have this be valid, right? Because this is still an option. So I don't know. Think about this 11 a little bit more. Oh, thanks, Gojo. I appreciate that. Very kind of you to say. Okay, so, I mean, I will say the best part about this puzzle so far, my solve, is even though I made 2 mistakes, I solved them relatively quickly, so I was able to. That doesn't mean there's not more mistakes, but the mistakes I did make, I saw somewhat quickly. This is not a huge number. It's not 8 or 9. The problem is it feels like there's a world in which it's not a 2. We did say that because it would pair with a 9. It itself is not a 3. Okay, it's not a 2 because a 2 would require a 9. It's not a 3 because there's a 3 there. It's not a 4 because there's a 4 right there. So it's a minimum of 5. Now, were it 5, we'd have a hard time going this way. Well, let's just think about it from that standpoint for a second. So it's 5, 6, or 7 because it's not 8 or 9. So just thinking about what that would demand. The things that would pair with that to, okay, thanks for the tomato. I'm missing something so obvious. Okay, I will look up there in just a moment. So 5, 6, or 7 is going to pair with 5 or 6 to make the, I'm sorry. 5 is going to, 5 and 7. I mean, this is just ruled out going this way if it's 5 or 6. And actually, 5. As soon as it's more than 5, 6, 7, 8. As soon as this is more than 5, it's broken. let me go through this one more time. I think this is not a 1, obviously. I think it is not a 2, because a 2 would force it to go with a 9, which is not allowed. It's not a 3. It's not a 4. It's a minimum of 5, 6, 7. It's not 8 or 9. Even irrespective of like the difficulties of, you know, what's going to happen when we try to go in here with a 5, 6, or 7 trying to make 11. Well, 5 or 6 specifically. We at most, if we just take these, this is complicated. How do we do this? These have to see a different number of digits, right? Like somehow this has to see more than this is what we're claiming. If we take, we can't take all of these because then this 4 is broken. So no, it seems that no matter what the option is, we have to extend up into the world, right? We're not taking all of these. We're taking at most 4 of these. And then once we take the 4, we have to grow up into the world. Have I broken the puzzle again? Or does it just barely work? Because even you can see, like, you can't take these 5 because it breaks the 4. I think that's correct to say. At most, for the total you're trying to make here, what you're getting from this row, you are at most getting 4 because you're going to break this otherwise. So you have to take this. You have to take that. And as soon as you take that, you know you can't make a 2 by 2. As soon as you take this, you're now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this needs to see 2 more digits. I don't necessarily know where they are. I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this is forced, right? Like there's not a way that this can see 4 without taking this, but then it seems possible for it to go one way or the other. But the point is, we have to go up here. So we have to have 4 down here, and we get 5, 6, 7. So I guess the long-winded thing is that I think I'm stating that this is required to be a 7. And that is removing the optionality, removing 7 as an option for the this 15 cage. So this 15 cage is now kind of interesting because it's going to pair with a 9 or a 7, which is going to be hard for it, at least a little bit. 7 is hard. I guess 9 could still go that way, actually. Well, 7 is a real problem either way, isn't it? This 15 cage, I don't know that I've even done thinking about this, sorry. But this 15 cage, how are we going to make 15? We're going to make 15 as 9, 6 or 8, 7. This is not a 7. If it is an 8, it's got to be in a domino with a 7. Which, how are you going to do that? Is this still okay? Actually, shoot. Maybe that is still okay. Can I like sneak out the side gate? If this is 8, 7? I guess that's still possible. Sorry, I thought I was ruling that out, but maybe that's still possible. Anyway, we have learned a little bit about the world down here. At least about this. Okay. So, I really like the way... The interplay of these rules is really cool. Assuming I'm understanding them. We are saying this is guaranteed to be a tile, right? Like, this is not... It's a different total. Can't go that way. This is a domino. Which we place as the 1. So I'm getting ahead of myself, which is silly because I feel like most of the time I'm looking for like, what can I do next? Okay. So that's good. Now it's the question of where does this guy go? if the 7 domino goes this way, we can't do it. We're trying to make 11 and we just put a 4 here. So 7 is going to go with 4. That's one way of seeing it. I think the other way of seeing it is if we don't take this and we go here. Oh, I saw another way of looking at it a second ago and now I'm missing it. Oh, right. We make this into a domino and we break both of these options because they're both in here. So for both of those reasons, because this breaks if we try to take this one, and because this breaks if we try to take this one, this domino, I believe, is forced to go this way. And are those tomatoes to tell me that I'm doing something wrong? Did I make a mistake? Or those just don't miss something tomatoes? I definitely don't want to make a mistake. I feel like I'm going okay on logic. I'm going a little slowly, but I think I'm going okay. But I definitely don't want to make any mistakes. Now, this has to see 4. We're not going to cram a domino in here, right? We've said this sees 4. It only sees 3 currently. We can't use this anymore. So we have to take this one. And if we take this one, it needs a buddy. So I think we also get this domino. So if that is true, that's yellow brick road. We have to avoid a 2x2 here. That doesn't necessarily. This is where I get messed up because you can have a checkerboard. We do see 4 here now. So that is yellow brick. We know this sums to 11. So that is the 4. That removes 4 as an option here. So that felt very exciting. Do we know where this goes? I don't know. This 8 is maybe a cool digit. Is it? I don't know. It sees... Yeah, it's tricky because you can't really say it has to get out here, right? I mean, it feels possible for this to be a 2. I'm just thinking about like what are the implications down here, but there's not a lot ruled out. It would put the 6 down here basically, which I think I'm okay with. Anyway, it's possible, I think, for it to be 2 and 6. That would be the end of this. We would be like, breaking that off. Feels possible, at least at this moment, for it to be 3 and 5. Certainly can't be double 4. It is not 5 and 3. It is not 6 and 2. And it is not 7 and 1. So are these the only options and positions we have for making 8? It's definitely not a 1. It could be 2, 6. It could be 3, 5. It's not double 4. It's not 5, 3. It's not 6, 2, just because what's seen in the row. It's not 7, 1, because 1's just in the box. So it feels like that lets this be a 2 or a 3. The thing that's annoying is that it could just kind of swing around the corner, right? If this was blocked off. This digit currently sees 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on that? Like, it's okay. We did have some minor thoughts and opinions on this, didn't we? As far as like what we're gonna pair it with. It's a little more difficult. There is a 9 up here. There is a 9 up here. So 6, 9 seems okay. But also 6, 9, I think at this moment is okay. 8, 7 can't go here, but it does feel like 8, 7 could go here. So I don't know that we can. Quite reduce that one. I don't think I see. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's so easy to forget this, that you know something. You kind of forget what you know. This digit, we only see 7 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We see them. We see them all. And so this is the end of the road. If that is true, then currently this only sees 4. So we have to see at least, well, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is not going to see 8. So this is a 6. 6 goes with the 9, but I don't know that. I mean, it's perfectly reasonable for 9 to be there, but I don't know that we know yet. If this is 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we definitely take that. That's Yellow Brick Road, and this is Hedge. So we do, this is a 2, and a 2 to make 8 is going to go with a 6. That leaves, what, 2, 5 down here? That's exciting. Your little 2, 5 pair hanging out. And then what do we need here? 1 and 8 and 3? I don't know. That's probably not worth pencil marking. It's hard to resist sometimes. So we got this. We know the nature of this. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I keep wanting to count this twice, which causes problems in my heart. So what does that mean? This digit is a minimum of 5, and it only sees 3 currently. So we absolutely have to take this. I don't know why we said that was a minimum of 5. Presumably you had a very good reason for doing it. Why did we, wait, why? Because, why? I mean, it very clearly can't be 2. It has a 1. Why couldn't this be 3? I just am a little worried that I've screwed up my pencil marks. But why did we say that this couldn't be 3? Oh, because it's 14. It's a minimum of 5 because it's a 14. My corner pencil mark is kind of covering that. Anyway, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at a minimum. So this is on the Yellow Brick Road. How do I not know this yet? I probably do. It just feels still a little bit possible for these to swing in crazy ways. This already sees 4. I'm sorry, it already sees 3. So it needs 1 more. But I don't know, it seems kind of possible. There's not a reason necessarily that this couldn't keep going unless this 7 is going to constrain it. This 7 looks actually a bit hard. How are we going to make a 7 when we don't have 6 and we don't have 2 and we don't have 4? So, and it's not 1, obviously. So 1, 6 is just ruled out, right? Because you can't have the 6. You can't have 6, 1, and 1, 6 is ruled out. 2 would go with the 5. That could only work if the 5 were here and the 2 were over here. And 3 goes with the 4. And that could only work if the 3 were here and the 4 were here. I got a little worried that I missed an option there, but let me just walk through that one more time. a 1-6 I think is not a possibility because you can't have a 1 in a cage and 6 is ruled out. What about a 2-5? Well, we see a 2 here. So it would have to be 2-5 in this orientation, which at this moment seems okay to make 7. And if not a 2-5, then it's a 3-4. We have a 4 over here, but I think you could still have a 3-4. Now I'm worried. I'm worried. I want to go through that one more time. I'm so sorry. I'm fairly certain on the 1-6 thing is that's not happening. The 2-5. 2 is ruled out of this column. So it could be a 5 if the 2 is there. I think that is correct. The 4 is a little weird. We rule 4 out of here. Well, you could go with the 3. But I think 4 could swing either of these directions, actually. But I think we still get down to 3-5. I don't know how interesting that is. Okay, is that a suggestion? Okay, so we see 4 here. We certainly need to see one more here. Draclin! It's so hard to know. I'm so paranoid that I'm making like a grave mistake. I feel like I'm going okay. I mean, I'm obviously going quite slowly, but I'm making progress. It's slow progress. By the way, slight diversion. Look how cute this is. Draclin, look how cute it is. It's so cute. I tried to print it without support, so the fillet is ruined. But as far as the size, it's going to be a very cute little friend. Such a small little buddy. I don't know. Is it going to look dumb? It might look dumb. We'll see. We may have to, like, tweak the dimensions a little bit, because when we get the display, just because I wasn't very careful about the fitting of the display. The aperture is correct, but the fitting is not correct. The little screw holes don't look so bad. I don't know. I'm not good at that yet. Like the fastener, the fastening system design. Okay, so I think that, what do I think? It's a little frustrating because I feel like I must know something about the pairing of these, but I'm really having a hard time seeing it. This is not as constrained as this 7. This 7 seems like it has a lot more options. This 6 can't see too far. Could see here, and that could still be 3. So I don't know. This 7, is there anything worrisome about if we try to go one way or the other? Going this way is a problem for 5 and 6, obviously. But 4 seems okay. Well, that's not even true. If it's 4, we explicitly cannot go that way. Right? Like if it's 4, we already see 4 digits. So maybe there's something useful there. I'm just not quite seeing it. So I just need to take another little trip around the grid, I guess. This, this digit can only be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a maximum of, oh, I'm sorry. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would break it. Okay, how am I trying to express this? There's a green in here, I think is the thing I'm trying to say. This is a maximum of 8. It already sees 4. 5 is currently okay. 6 is actually impossible, I think. I think it's not possible for this to see 6. Because if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you instantly see a 7th. So I think you can't have 6 here. And if you can't have 6, that was not what I meant to do. You can't have 6 here. We're trying to make 13. You can't have 7 here. 5, 8, 6, 7 things still seems sort of possible. So let's think about that a little more. Do we have the same problem with 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 instantly sees a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 forces a 9. I don't think you can see 8 here either. And if you take the 8 out of there, what do you take out of here? You take the 5 out of here. So now we have a 5, 7 pair for our 13. So it's either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7. And that means we've got to pair up with the 6 with the 7 or the 5 with the 8. Which seems okay. That makes this 7 very hard, though, doesn't it? What's the maximum this 7 could be? Could it actually be a 6? I think my neighbor's probably annoyed with me, and I feel bad about it. So I'm trying to keep my voice down. I haven't switched to ASMR mode. I have actually found myself because of streaming Sudoku, I have found myself narrating Sudoku even when I do it myself. It does seem to help me. I don't know, it's like a form of rubber ducking, maybe. It helps me make fewer mistakes, I think, because I'm like trying to justify my logic out loud. Okay, so what I want to just talk about is this 7's ability, given that it already sees 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that a reasonable thing to force this 7 to do? Or is it the only thing that this 7 can do? I guess not, because it could just swing the other way and still do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and have a 2 somewhere. This region feels fruitful. I'm just not quite seeing it. This is certainly a minimum of 3, but that's not very useful when we're talking about a 7. Because that's 3, 4, 5, or 6, right? It certainly sees 3. It can't be 4. That is apparent. So it's 3, 5, or 6 that this sees. The thing that's annoying is it does actually seem possible to see 6 and have that be okay for this to see 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actually seems reasonable and almost like what it wants to be, but I don't think it's a requirement. As far as, gosh, how have I not figured out like the pathing of this yet? It seems almost impossible that I just don't know that I am where I am with this puzzle, and I don't understand the nature of the paths yet. One of those is assuredly green. It's hard to tell if we're just having fun tomato time or if we are having a tomato party. Okay. I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is not allowed for either of these. So we do know there's a green here or here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is going to make everybody mad. So we do have to break this up. Five. This sees 3. I don't know. I don't know if there's just like a cage I have not considered fully or exactly what the issue is. These cages just doesn't feel like we know. Well, we know something about this 8, I guess. What do we know about this 8 other than it's not 6-2? And it's at least a 1. It feels like there's a deduction in this region, like in this neighborhood, that I'm just not quite seeing. I really want it to be about pathing. Like, is this a domino? This a domino? Like, what does it mean for this to go one way or the other? I just don't see it yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This only sees 2 so far. That seems like a problem, since this is a minimum of 4. Well, couldn't it just look this way? This is a minimum of 4. Do I need to do something dumb like Sudoku? What a heartbreaking situation that would be. This is too bad, because I really felt like I had pretty good momentum for a while. I mean, it's okay. I'm actually not worried about my pace. Like, I don't necessarily mind it, but I just worry about it in terms of time and lateness and so forth. Seven's very slightly interesting. 8, useless. 9. I only say 7's interesting because 7 is ruled out of here by Sudoku, and it's ruled out of here by cageness, but it's not, I don't think it's interesting enough. Okay, this is where I'm going to check the places where kind of the trail goes cold. Oh, okay. I've said this in other places. I don't know why I have not said it here yet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. If we want to be more than 4, we have to take this digit. As soon as we take this digit to make 5, we instantly see 6. It is not possible to have 5 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do you go? 5. You already see 6. So this is not 5. That gives us a 4, 6 here. That lamely still feels possible, I guess. Trying to make 7. If it's 6, that's not a requirement though, unfortunately. Like, if it's a 4, this is forced to be a 3, which would put a 3 here, which seems okay. If it's a 4, this is forced to be a 3. We roll 3 out of here, we bump the 3 up here, etc., etc., etc. I guess we place a 3 here, because we wouldn't be able to go up. If it is 6, then this is forced to be a 1 in that case. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, is that the point? Okay, maybe that's the point that I've been missing this whole time. Okay, so the nature of this domino. If it's 4, it definitely doesn't go this way. So the domino is here, for sure. if it is 6, we can't go up here and have a 6-1. The domino can't be here because there's a 1 here. So the domino, okay, I think this is actually going to be very helpful. I wish I'd seen this sooner. I think this is the domino, which makes this whatever. It's 3 or 1. If that is the domino, if that is, then this has to live with the 15 for its domino. And we already know that this is a 6 somehow. Somehow we've determined that. We just didn't know where the 9 was. But now the domino goes this way. So this is the 9, which is going to force 9 up here, which is interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, this can't go. It actually can't do that. I think we placed the 9 weirdly because I don't think this can be 9 because we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This can't take all these. And if you place the 9 here, you have to take 1. No, you don't. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that's still too many because it makes 10. You see 10. So I think that actually places the 9. I hope that's true. It would be hard for this to be a 9 under any circumstances. But if we put a 9 there, knowing that this can only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we try to put a 9 here, we'd see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be the maximum. So I think we placed the 9. I don't know. What else did that mean? So that's going to keep kind of like swinging around the grid, I think. We can continue our little yellow brick road because now this is not paired with that one. So it's now paired with this one. And we knew something about the nature of this, I thought. Well, we know it's 14. It sees... I don't know why. Something about the corner pencil marks I'm actually having a hard time with in this particular puzzle. I think it's just because the cages are hard to see. I'm not sure. We're trying to make 14 with this buddy. So that makes this buddy 5 to go with the 9, 6 to go with the 8, which it can't be, or 9 to go with the 5. Because this can't be 6 because we placed the 6. Actually, we've known this forever. We've known this for a very... No, we didn't. We didn't actually know which way it went. That's why we didn't know this. If we take the 6 out of here, we take the 8 out of here, that becomes a 5-9 pair. Which, sadly, is not that interesting. I guess we get... Yeah, that's not that interesting. Sad story. I mean, this is like 3, 7, 8. I can't... Are these tomatoes a mistake? So, am I making a mistake? Okay, so following this around, I think that's the end of where we know kind of where the trail leads off. If this is a 9, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is possible, but that would break this, right? Because then this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this would have to be 7 to do that. So I think we know the order of this as 5 and 9, which means we're looking for 2 to go with our 6. That isn't here. 2 seems to have to be... Sorry, we need a 2 to go with the 4 to make our 6. 2 seems to not be here for some reason. Because we somehow ruled 5 out. Yeah, we ruled 5 out of here because 5 would force if you add 1 digit here. So 5 is ruled out of here. Since this is a domino, 5 would have had to go with 2. That's so I think we're saying 2 is not here. 2 is here. So in terms of where we can make our 6 domino, it's not here or here, and I think it can't be here. I'm sorry. I think it can't be here because I think we've pushed 2 up here somewhere because 2 is not down here. So I think we have pushed 2 down here, which gives us another little dude. Skojo, thank you for still hanging out. I appreciate that. I don't know how you have the patience to watch me badly solve a puzzle that you solved so quickly. But I am grateful for it. It's hard to imagine. So we have some logic that says like we can't. Okay, the question is like, how could this ever be yellow? And I think the answer is it can't, because it would force this. So I think we get that. Is that true? What is your career? What do you do for a living? Are you some sort of puzzle master? Are you like a supervillain? Oh, do you own an escape room? Oh, somehow that casts a whole new light on you. That's very interesting. That's cool. Is your escape room... I don't know why this is my... Actually, I do know. My first question for it, is it primarily an analog experience, like analog kinds of puzzles, or are there like digital interactive elements, or are there like hybrid physical digital elements? I hope that question makes sense. I do a lot of hybrid physical digital fabrication, so I'm interested in that. Okay, so that was very good. One of these is going to branch up. Whatever that means. I think we're okay over here. This is feeling good. We've got some pressure on this 11 now. We have some limitations on where this 7, this can grow. I mean, I guess you could do it without going this way. Mostly electronic, cool. Do you design the puzzles yourself? Okay. What am I doing? This 7, the friends of this 7 are now kind of interesting because we know the 7 doesn't go this way. This 7 has a buddy in this box. Is that cool? It seems very hard for this 7 to be a 3. Because if this is a 7 is a 3, its buddy has to be a 4, and 4 is rolled out of those cells. So I think that 7 is not a 3. If this 7 is... Matt Spector, how's it going? Skojo is my coach. Although I feel like I've done okay today with minimal coaching. Granted, I've been working on this puzzle for 2 hours, but aside from that, I feel like aside from my glacial pace. How's your evening? Well, it's always a weird question on test. How is your time of day in the part of the world that you are in at the moment, Matt Spector? Okay, so what we were thinking about, okay, right. What are we going to pair this with? 4 was immediately a problem. 1 and 2 are oh, okay. This digit, this 7, has to pair with a friend that is either a 5, sorry. We have to pair the 5 and the 6 with a 1 or a 2, whichever way this swings. Neither of those are available here. So this domino does not do this. Guaranteed it doesn't do this. And if this... Oh, thanks, Kojo. Just past midnight, lurking in the darkness. I want to do crazy puzzles. I'm trying to work my confidence up to try like higher difficulty ratings, especially since Owen tricked me into doing a 4-star codec last night. Okay, but okay, I think I have something here, right? I think what we're saying is that this domino, the nature of this domino is not this. We know there's connective tissue here. Or do we? We do, because we can't have a 2 by 2. One of these is the route, right? Like there's definitely oh, or could they both be green? Oh no. Anyway, okay. The thing I'm prepared to say is the 7 doesn't do this, because 1 and 2 are not available to us if that's the case. If the 7 doesn't do this, is it possible for this to be yellow? I think the answer is no. Because if this is yellow, it doesn't go here. And if this is yellow and it doesn't go here, then it goes this way and we've got a nightmare going on, right? So I guess what I'm trying to propose is that because 5 and 6 need to pair with 1 and 2, which is ruled out of here, this never goes here. And if it's not part of this domino, it's its own little sovereign state, which is not allowed. So I think I'm prepared to say that is true. The issue then is like the connective tissue of like the upper world to the lower world. It's tricky. If we take this digit, what happens? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is currently valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is currently valid. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We did not take that digit. In fact, if we take this digit, that's forced, right? It's just in both of these cases, if we take this digit, that is all forced. If we do not take this digit, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which at the moment is valid. If we do not take this digit, we at least have to go this way, which gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which then forces this to be green, which at the moment, if that forces this to be green, that's actually still valid, frustratingly, because we could take one of these to make up the balance for the 4, and this guy can go wherever it wants. So is the 11 the secret here? Thank you for the tomatoes. I'm trying. I'm really trying. So we still don't necessarily know, or maybe everybody does but me, whether this is a domino or this is a domino. Like where the upper world connects to the lower world is still a bit of a question. But we haven't really considered this 11. Sorry, I just am like momentarily taken aback by the number of 9s in this puzzle. I don't know if that, it doesn't actually seem super, I mean, does it? Okay, I'm going to take just a mini Sudoku break, if everyone could just bear with me. Because it seems like we got some 9s in this puzzle, huh? They're not anywhere that I would call especially useful, but they're there. And while we're at it, like 4s and 2s, I mean, that's kind of interesting from this perspective in terms of trying to make the 7, because we know the 7 swings one way or the other. The placement of the 2s is somewhat interesting. Oops. Am I driving all of you insane? Oh wait, are you throwing the tomatoes? So the tomatoes are, so I'm the author. Is that what you're responding to as is neat, Matt Spector? Or maybe you're talking about something else. Oh, thanks for the follow. Also, appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm the author of an extension called Heat that lets you do interactive stream stuff, and so yeah, thanks. It's an extension I made a few years ago. It's various people use it for various things, but it's suddenly very useful for Sudoku. Like if people are watching me and are incredibly frustrated with me missing something extremely obvious, you can have a well-placed tomato. The problem is Draclin likes to come in and throw, you know, faux tomatoes. I was just curious, and maybe this is not fruitful. It's interesting to see that 2 is up in this part of the world, just as the pairing for our 7. I was just curious about 1s in that, through that lens, but it unfortunately seems not tremendously exciting. At least right at this moment. I have that feeling like I'm missing some basic Sudoku. I don't know that that's very important right this second, but you know, sometimes you just have this tingling sensation. Oh, well, interesting. Speaking of Sudoku, do you know that sometimes you can just do Sudoku? Weird. Now, where's 4 in this box? It's just here, right? So we get the 4. That does go with the 3, which is gives us the 3 here, it seems. Do we get another 3 from that? I know, I mean, it's a waste of time. I actually don't like doing Sudoku. That was my favorite thing about the puzzle last night, was we barely had to do any Sudoku. There was so much coloring that by the time the coloring was done, the Sudoku did itself. But I guess I will take a brief moment to consider the possibility that that there is Sudoku to be done in this puzzle. I don't like it. I don't want to. Yeah, there's 4s all over the place. Oh, well, this is cute. This is cute, actually. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so let's run a little Sudoku vacation. Let's just follow through with the Sudoku vacation. And think about 4s. And the nature of a domino with 8 in it that is never going to have a 4. So it's not obvious, but I think that is a 4. And if that's a 4, I think that lands all of the 4s for us, right? Which is pretty interesting, actually. Ah, okay. So I think we've learned something about our path from this. So okay, it was actually for once in life interesting to do Sudoku, because 4 now in box 2. Is this true? I feel like I'm making some silly mistake. That's what happens when you do Sudoku. It's easy to make a mistake. This now requires a 9. And I just happen to already know, because we did Sudoku, where the 9 is. And so this okay. I mean, we knew the 7 didn't go up here, but it's nice to have like external confirmation. We need to avoid a 2x2 and get green there. We need to avoid a 2x2. That's very nice. So we learned the nature of our 7. Oh, great. Okay. It was worth it. It was worth it. I mean, I do like crazy puzzles. The question is if it would be too hard for me to solve. Okay. No 2x2. So if that is the truth, well, 1, we can just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've already done this. And we know where it goes. So this is a 6 and this is a 1. So this is a 2. And we now know the dominoes go like this. And that means that there is no connective tissue here, which was the possibility that I didn't want to entertain, but here we've arrived here. So we know the path to greatness is in this direction. Oh no, a 5 out of 5 star. I mean, maybe with coaching, I would certainly be glad to take a look at it. I'm a little afraid of that, but hey, I have an excellent team of coaches. Okay, so we know a great deal about sort of the southerly road, right? The southerly path is pretty well defined now, all the way up to here. We can start to answer some questions immediately about what are we going to pair this 7 with, knowing that it can only pair with a 4 or a 2. We will have a very hard time pairing the 7 with a 2, because 2 is not the same number as 9. There's a 2 over here and there's a 2 over here. So I think we eliminate the 5 from here. Yep, sorry, that's the opposite of what I meant to do. I think we make this a 3. In doing so, it has to pair with a 4, which seems to not be possible there, but does seem to be possible here. So I think we can do that, and I think we can do this, which is satisfying. We have to... This is kind of funny. I don't know that I've like run into this exact configuration, but this has no buddy, so it's not on the path. How do we connect the path? I guess it is possible. I mean, I'm so tempted to do this. We can't though, because this already sees 3. How funny. That's cool. This already sees 3. So we have to block off the garden path here, block off the garden path here. This sees 4, but it only sees 3 currently. We already knew this, but that is definitely connected. And this 11 is definitely a domino, which is very exciting. This domino has to be paired with somebody. It doesn't go that way, so it has to go this way. And so that is also Yellow Brick Road, and we know it's a 1, which seems to not break anything. It does push a 1 over here. Heliopollix, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Brutal? Oh, I don't know. There's I'm feeling brutality in most puzzles. Okay, so we see our 3. So we're close to knowing the nature of the world, right? Like we're definitely zeroing in on it. So it seems, I mean, I kind of don't know if I want to. It's weird. I weirdly, like in a case like this, I'm suddenly paralyzed with. Oh, I really appreciate that. Thanks. Is that true? Wait, you caught Mark with a lucky guess? I think I've made a lucky guess or 2 in my time, so if you've seen the VODs, I'm sure you already know about heat, but you can click the video. I feel like I don't need it this time. I feel like I'm doing okay. I mean, you're welcome to, but I think I'm very slowly but surely churning my way through this puzzle. We only see 3 digits here, and we already see them, so we get this little brick wall. This is a case where we have a cul-de-sac where we do have to get out of the cul-de-sac, right? We're going to have to emerge from our cul-de-sac, and then we're going to have this needs a domino, and so this is going to need to be a domino. And that may be the path. I think that's the path. Is that the path? That's cool. Oh, Matt Spector, sorry for anybody who's joining. I'll put up the rules for a second if you want to take a look. So this is the second of a Domino Trails puzzle by Blobz. They're both available on Logic Masters Germany. So if you want to take a look at the rules, the main takeaway is a coloring puzzle where you're like either on the garden path or you're not. To me, the critical rules are that the trail is always a domino. It's not just individual paving stones. The trail, which we have as golden, is always a domino. And the cage is always the sum of that domino. And the digit in the cage is the vision of that domino. Like this digit is in a domino that sums to 4. That's what the blue outlines are, but it only sees 3. Before it hits hedges, which is how these are defined. So, right. So I think we have the trail now. We have a few more cages to fill in. So we just need to think a little bit about like, how are we going to make an 8? I mean, we don't even have to think that hard about it because we already know how many digits we see. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know this is a 5 because that's just what we see 5 digits. And then we know that the domino sums to 8, so that's a 3. We use the same logic here for the 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to be a 7, which we'll put the 2 here. We use the same thing for this 11, which sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a 5 and a 6 for the 11. So that was very easy, actually. I don't think I was able to use that logic anywhere else in the puzzle, where you already fully knew the shape of the world. Right, and we have learned some things up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It did turn out to be the 7, the 6, which seemed like it was one of those things that seemed both difficult but also kind of perfect. Like this configuration to allow for like this 2 in the 11 and all of this was like a pretty delicate balance, but we did end up with 7 visible here. So, and then to get the 13, that goes with the 6. That untangles these. And so we can, I think, untangle Pencil March pretty quickly. And then I'm sadly, I think we now have to do Sudoku. I think we did all of the fun stuff in this puzzle. Gross. Gross. Oh yeah, if you're asking what it's interesting to, I mean, it's cool. This actually felt like gimmies almost in a way that the rest of the puzzle was not, like in other instances, you didn't lead with vision, you led with like the cage totals. Okay. So yeah, Skojo, I agree. I think it was very, I guess having done both of them, and I don't know if you had this experience, I feel like I was, I mean, this is a long solve but I think I learned the rules. The first puzzle, it took me a little bit of time to wrap my head around like what the nature of the puzzle, the nature of the constraints, right? Like what do you know immediately? Like, this is a 2, this is a 3. Like there's things immediately if you understand the rule set that I didn't implicitly understand at the beginning of the first puzzle, obviously, but that I did understand at the beginning of this puzzle, which was cool. Okay. Sudoku. Okay. We're just gonna do it. You gotta like do Sudoku like you're doing a set of crunches almost, like you just like, let's just do it. It's like I don't know, it's like taking your vitamins or something, or like taking like medicine that doesn't taste very good. It's like just get through your Sudoku. It's not that bad. It's kind of that bad. I don't know. It's like when I'm at this point when I feel like, I'm done, but I'm not done. I didn't finish the puzzle yet. I should probably finish the puzzle. I mean, we have places where there's just like the nakedest of naked singles, truly nude singles lurking in this puzzle. I do like it when there's a 5 in the middle of a puzzle. That is inexplicably always a little bit satisfying. I feel like we know so little about 8. It's kind of stunning. Wait, that wasn't right. Why did I think that was true? risky. Anyway, what were we doing? 5s, 6s. Sevens. I mean, I know. I could. It's funny that. Okay, so we finally untangle this, right? So I guess it's the 7 and the 1 and the 7 and the 8 and the 1 here. Finally get some 8s in the world. Like this 8. So it's just like just the 8s left. Somehow I've done the whole puzzle. Done the whole puzzle except for the 8. That's kind of funny. Silly. Although somehow we're missing 2 digits in this case. We don't have a 1 or an 8. Thought we had all the ones. Okay. I think that looks all right. I mean, some part of me wants to go back and check all the totals, but hey, how about that? Okay, I should have this for my personal gratification. I should have this queued up already, but with the golf clap. Thanks, Gojo. I appreciate that. Oh, you do? How did it go? Owen, did you make it through, or are you still working on it? Skojo, I would definitely like to try your. I'm sure, Matt Spector, I will definitely take a look. And Skojo, I would like to see your cave puzzle. I think I'm done solving for the night. But oh, and how did you finish this puzzle, or you're still working on it, or what's your status, or did you finish an hour ago? All right, so this is Mad Spector's puzzle. What is that line? You know, that's very interesting. So it's a palindrome. The reason I say it's interesting is the puzzle that I did last night, it's actually a puzzle I did off stream. I wish I had done it on stream. Had this exact shape in it. Which is, it's funny because I just don't know that I've ever, like, it's an unusual shape to see. All right, I do like the 22s. Okay, I would, so I'm gonna take this, oh, okay, well, Owen, I'm positive you'll get it. So, Matt Spector, I'm gonna take that and I will throw it on my Discord so I remember to take a look at it. And then, yeah, Skojo, if you wouldn't mind sharing, I would really like to see it. Yeah, Owen, I definitely had to. It took me a little. That was my first like cave style puzzle too, so I definitely had to. It took me a kind of while to wrap my head around the rules and the implications of them, especially like the don't loop. Almost didn't even seem possible to me at first. Okay, well, I love Kropke dots. So what are we looking at? The long gray line is a palindrome. And then we've got, oh, is this an insane thermometer? Is this a thermometer with 2 legs on it? Is that what I'm... I feel like sometimes thermometers end up looking weird in Sudoku Pad. Oh, Helio, I don't think it'll work if you have a space there. My bot is not very good. So you should be able to do it without the space. Okay, I see. Okay, that's cool. That's what I thought it was, but sometimes just the way it gets rendered by that cracking the cryptic. Cool, it looks fun. Yeah, I would definitely like to try it. These 22 totals are very interesting to me. I feel like I'm bad at these kinds of puzzles, like understanding, you know, digit relationships in cages relative to their sum. I love this though. I have a extreme fondness, and I don't exactly know, like when puzzle rules overlap perfectly, like when they're how do I want to put it? When they simultaneously constrain the same cells, I think that's really interesting. We did one that had, I think it was German whispers and Rinbands maybe inside cages. that were kind of fitted. I guess that's how I describe it. I like fitted cages. I think that's cool. Okay, it looks really fun. I don't have a great deal of confidence in my ability to solve it, but hey, I'll give it a whirl. Oh, Helio, thanks for joining the Discord. I appreciate that. I really did not expect expect there to be a Sudoku Twitch community, which I should have expected that, but everybody's so lovely. It really is nice. Skoja, one thing I want to discuss with you, maybe on the Discord sometime, is like I've been thinking about building. Sure, I have to sign off very soon, but I would be glad to look at another puzzle. Let's enter the. I mean, I can't solve another puzzle tonight, but I would be glad to look at one. So I really enjoyed this puzzle. I wouldn't necessarily say that I think this was dramatically harder than the first one. I think the big thing that was tricky for me to see, that kept me hung up for a while, was the thing down here that kind of unfurled the nature of the dominoes. That was the really critical piece. Kind of realizing that this could not be a 5, and then realizing that whether it was 4 or 6, it had to go this way. And once you understood that this was the nature of the 7 domino, that almost like broke open the whole, back half of the puzzle. Was kind of based on that. So let's do row 1. Let's see if the copy paste thing works. Oh no, the copy paste thing didn't work. What happened? Is it, we have a matched script. Sudoku pad copied, enable. Row 1. Oh no, did Sven make an update that breaks everything? Oh no. Oh, funny. I had caps lock on and didn't realize it, and it breaks the copy. Oops. Must be the way I check the modifier keys. Okay, I'm going to say this was, obviously for me it was hard, but I'm going to say it was average. And I thought it was very nice. I really enjoyed the Blobz puzzles I've done so far. I've really liked. Oh, and you are absolutely a coach. No question. Oh, this is a puzzle by you. Oh, okay. I thought you were just showing me a cool puzzle. I didn't realize it was one you had authored. So, okay. I will definitely also throw that in. I just want to be sure that I don't lose these puzzles. I really appreciate everybody sharing their puzzles. I think that's super cool. I definitely want to try. I have not tried my hand at setting yet. Terrier Darts did, and I really liked Terrier's puzzle. Okay, so 6x6 rules, doublers and voids, white holes, 6 black holes. White holes are doublers, black holes are voids. Oh, a void cell has a value of 0. Cool. Between the black and white holes. Non-standard little killer rules. The little killer path must be altered by wormholes. Same number of black and white. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. A one-way wormhole and act as a pair of entry exit points. This is pretty wild. Oh, congrats, Owen. I think now that you've made it to the first one, and understand the rules. Okay, well, I'm horrified of this even as a 6x6, but let me take a look at the 9x9. Oh boy. I mean, that is an incredible rule set. Like, definitely kudos for coming up with that. That is really cool. Okay, I feel like I feel like it will take me time to just fully internalize the rules, much less actually be able to solve the puzzle. Okay, I am going to sign off soon. I really appreciate everybody stopping by. I really liked that puzzle. I think all of the Blobz puzzles I've done so far, I've really enjoyed. I think they've been like a very good balance of challenging and fair, and also, how would I describe it? Like interesting, emerging kind of like behaviors that emerge that are kind of more than the sum of the rules. I think in particular in that Grand Prix one, like it was just the idea of drawing your own paths I thought was really cool, and like what the interplay of just trying to create the Rin band and the German Whisper in this puzzle. Oh, it was an equal sum and a German Whisper. Anyway, really enjoyed that. Why in the world would it not let you say the word? I don't understand. Automod. Yeah, I agree with that, Skoja. I'd actually like to see a third puzzle. I don't know what I want from it, but it was cool to. I don't know, like I'm torn on that because I like seeing new and interesting rule sets, but it actually is nice to have an iteration on a rule set that I've already internalized, you know. Mad Spectre, I generally like stream during the day, like some kind of work stream, like a project stream. Like I've been working on this cute little robot. So that was earlier. And then Sudoku in the evening. I don't have a set schedule, and I'm going to be starting a contract job soon that's going to take a lot of time. So maybe that's the thing I would like to ask people on the Discord is like, okay, if there's like a good time one day a week that I will definitely stream. And then, I started to say this and I lost track of it. Skoja, I would kind of like to discuss with you at some point, like I'm thinking of building a heat overlay specifically for Sudoku solving that might even let people have a couple options, like, you know, they can shift click, control click, alt click to do something different. I'd be curious, like, one, if you even have any interest of maybe using heat on your streams, and if you did, like what you think, you know, so you have much more experience streaming Sudoku, like what you think would be like a form of engagement with a few different layers that people might like. Anyway, this is what we were working on earlier on the kind of work stream. So I instead of having just a channel bot like this the robot in the corner that voices what I'm doing, I'm going to have a little physical version of this fellow. Let's see, where's just based on an old drawing and then 3D model that I did once upon a time. That looks like this guy. I want to make a physical version of this little guy, and then got a little 4-inch screen on the way, and so we'll see how that goes. Should be fun. Okay, cool, Skoja. So I may bug you on Discord just to see what you think about it. I mean, I think the tomatoes seem fun. I can definitely say from my own perspective, there's been so many times watching Cracking Cryptic where, like, you know, there's some naked single, the Simon is missing, and you just wish you could like say like, just look at box 2. There's just like something right there. So I think it would be fun. Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for being a like, I don't know, I feel like I was like inadvertently kind of warmly invited into the Sudoku streaming community, despite the fact that I'm not very good at solving Sudoku. And I really appreciate that. Appreciate everybody being so patient and gracious. Much appreciated, and I will see you next time.